I'm Chef Jen, and I'm here with my friend Jared, and today we're making one pot chicken Alfredo. So we've already started by washing our hands. We've secured our cutting board, so what that means is it won't slide around as we're doing our chopping. To start, we're going to take our broccoli. We're going to lay it down on our cutting board and just cut off the bottom edge. We'll put that in the compost. We don't need that. So next, we're going to take our vegetable peeler, and you just want to peel the stem. Just take your time doing that, and it's just going to remove the tough outer skin. Just peel away from you. And it's just like peeling a carrot. It's just like that. Put your peeler aside, take those peels off your board, and put them in the compost. We won't be using those today. A lot of people don't realize that we can actually eat the stem, and it's a great source of nutrition. So we're just going to cut a little piece off, put the flat edge down, and continue cutting into strips. And we're just going to dice it into small pieces. And always keep your fingers curled away from the knife, just like that, small pieces of broccoli. So we'll continue doing that until all of the stem has been chopped up. Turn them so they're all facing the same direction, and cut them up. We'll put our knife down, and we'll just scoop that up and put it into our bowl. Now we'll take our broccoli florets. Now you can either pull them apart with your fingers, or you can use your knife just to cut them apart. Whatever you're most comfortable with. So you can always cut it in half like that, and pull it apart too. Or you can chop it. Sometimes there's a little bit of the stem left, that's okay, we'll just chop that up too. And same with the florets. As long as they're equal in size, they'll cook the same amount of time. So as we get those down to a nice bite-sized piece, we'll just put them into our bowl. So we'll just put it all into our bowl and set it aside until later. So next, we'll cut our chicken into small bite-sized pieces. So just work with one chicken breast at a time, cut it into strips, and then cut those strips into cubes. And you can take your time doing this. Sometimes the raw chicken can be a little bit slippery. So just make sure they're all about the same size so they cook at the same time. And if you don't like the feel of the raw chicken, you can always wear a pair of gloves while you're cutting it too. So we'll put our knife down, we'll pick up all the chicken, put it back into the bowl, and we'll take some time now to wash our hands, our knife, and our cutting board after handling all of that raw chicken. So now it's time to cook our chicken. So Jared, if you wouldn't mind turning our burner on. Great, and we'll add the pot. Just like that. We'll remove the lid for now, it will be used later. So we'll feel with the back of our hand to make sure that the pot is hot. So I can tell right now that it's not quite heated up, so we'll just give it a minute or two to heat up. So we'll check again with the back of our hand, and that feels better. I can feel the heat, but my hand isn't actually touching the bottom. So now we can add our oil. We'll spread that all around the pot. Just give that a second to warm up too. And then we'll add our raw chicken that we diced up. So that's perfect. We want to hear that sizzle. That means we're at the right temperature. So Jared, if you want to give that a stir in the pot. So we want that chicken to turn from the light pink color to a white, and the outside should be a nice golden brown. So we'll just stir it occasionally to make sure all the pieces flip over and cook evenly. So we can see at this point we're about halfway through the chicken cooking process, so we'll just stick with it. This is looking great. We have some nice browning happening on some of these pieces of chicken. So what do you think, Jared? Do you think that looks about done?
Yeah.
Yeah? So next we'll add our spices. So we have garlic powder, salt, and pepper. So Jared, if you put 3 scoops of the garlic, that one, yep. Great, and then 1 each of the salt and pepper. At this point, we're just building our Alfredo flavor. So we have some garlic going on, and then we'll have some other flavors coming in later. So we'll have a nice creamy, rich sauce. That's good. Give it a good stir. Mix all those spices around.
It smells like garlic.
It does smell like garlic. That's awesome. And next, we're going to add our chicken broth. So if you want to pour that whole carton in there, Jared, we'll be careful not to splash. Perfect. And we'll just wait for that to come back to a boil. All right, so our broth has come up to a boil. We've stirred the pot a few times to make sure none of the chicken has stuck to the bottom. It's time to add our pasta. So we'll take some of it out of our jar here, and we'll just gently place it into the pot. Now it may not all fit while it's raw like this, but as it starts to cook, it will sink down into the broth. You can always use your spoon to help it along. Just like that. You can see it's starting to sink down. So once that broth comes back to a boil, we're going to take our lid and cover it, and we'll let it cook. So the pasta is about halfway cooked, so we're just going to take the lid off. We're going to give it a stir, make sure nothing is sticking to the bottom. And I think we'll leave the lid off for the rest of the cooking time so that some of the broth can evaporate away. And that just helps to make it more flavorful, to condense those flavors so it'll be nice and rich when we're done. So now that all of that chicken broth has evaporated away and our pasta is tender, it's time to add the broccoli. So we'll pour that in, and we'll add our cream cheese and our lemon juice as well. Great, and I'll just give that a little stir, and we'll just continue cooking that for a few minutes until that broccoli softens and the cheese is melted. So we've removed our pasta from the stovetop, and we'll just mix in our Parmesan cheese, sprinkle that over top, one quick little stir, and then it's time to plate, just like that. And we'll get some chicken in there, maybe some broccoli too. So there we have our one pot chicken Alfredo. Good job, Jared.